Hi there, my name is Cupicate, and welcome to the pup reveal of Brothers Bond with Mikhail. So next week we will be seeing Teo's pups, and I already know what they look like and they're amazing, but I haven't seen Mikhail's pups yet. I'm so excited because I want to see what Hawthorne looks like most of all, but I'm interested to see if we get any of the new coats or even some rare NPC coats. So let's get into it. So as a recap, we have Lupine, who here looks very gray in nature. We have Husky, who's pretty light with a red blaze down his nose. We have Hawthorne, who's that beige with the black tip tail. He's the one I'm most interested in seeing what he turns out to be. I don't actually look at the WolfQuest wiki to go, oh, well, that pup coat definitely has this coat. So I'm always surprised when this happens because I don't usually look at it. And there's a Lovebird who has a kind of a darker mask on her face, but with lighter paws. We've got Nova, who's very similar to Husky, just a little bit darker. And then we have Doe, who has a red blaze on her face as well. So I'm really excited. Let's look. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. So first we have Lupine. Lupine has one of the most intense looking coats I think I have ever seen on a wolf. The way that the eyebrows look makes him look either really focused or even kind of sad, but to me it almost looks like he's angry. Look at this beautiful boy! And he ended up with the most beautiful green eyes. So Lupine has the third coat on the original coats list. It is the brown one. It looks like he did end up getting some green eyes. I really wonder where that's from because I don't think Kirby has green eyes and I know Mikhail has amber eyes. So maybe this is the recessive gene. I'm gonna have to look at Kirby's eyes for reference later, but he really did end up getting some like golden green eyes. Absolutely beautiful, baby. Let's hear what he sounds like. Very soft. I don't usually hear this howl very often. Oh, these two are in the same vocal range together. That is so cool. It really does sound like that howl belongs to the same wolf. How wonderful is that? You sound so soft, Lupine. I wonder if he is a softer wolf just in general, just being quiet and cautious, always calculated, and what his next moves are, but maybe he's not very bold. It looks as though he doesn't have anything going on with his ears or his tail. His tail looks fairly normal, so I don't think he got any special customizations at all, but we will give him the snaggle thing. Lupine ended up with a plus in strength, but a minus in stamina. Other than that, he's pretty average. I'm honestly not surprised that he got the minus in stamina since his father has horrible stamina. But he did get a plus in strength, which is what makes him so big and burly. It means he bites harder, so I'd be really interested to play him. I wonder if it would be like Aurora almost, where he would be quiet, but he'd take his time with everything. But maybe not for the same reasons. She was attacked by stranger wolves and that made her more cautious. But maybe because of seeing his aunt die, it's made him really observe the world in a different way, where he's careful in his decisions. He's careful how he hunts. He's careful in the meat he chooses. He's careful in how he attacks predators. He just seems like he might be very careful in general. So what do y'all think about Lupine? Based on the things that you've seen, how do you think his personality would be? I could be completely off here. Maybe y'all think he would be way more brutal. Perhaps the endeavor in trying to turn Crevice Lake is something he thinks is silly. So let me know what y'all think in the comments below about Lupine. Whoa, Husky? What? Husky! Husky got radio collared. Look at this coat. What? What? I was not expecting this. I wasn't even remotely expecting this. What coat is this? Please explain. Okay, this is the 832F coat of '06. Interesting. I don't think we've ever had this coat on a pup before. So even though it isn't a special NPC coat and one that we can get in the Hall of Fame, I've never seen this on a pup. Or if I did, it looked very, very different. This is such a beautiful, beautiful coat. It looks like Sundance, actually. He looks a lot like Sundance in a way. The mask doesn't quite fit, but the yellow coloring, oh, he ended up so unique. He's got a true golden gaze, like the leaves of aspen trees in the fall. What do you sound like, beautiful boy? He got one of the longer howls for sure. He is also really soft in his vocal range, which is kind of a contrast to what I remember him sounding like as a pup. But I do remember Husky being the singer. He loved to sing, absolutely loved to sing. That was one of his favorite things. Every time Mikhail came back, whether it was from food or taking territory, it didn't matter. He greeted Mikhail with a howl. He started the howl, initiated a howl amongst the group. He was the singer. I don't see any ear customizations with this one. We obviously see the radio collar. Nothing special with the tail, but again, any customizations that aren't within a wolf, but you really want to see it in a wolf, tell me what it is and why they would have a customization like a nicked ear or a crooked tail. Even if it was something they were born with, whether it was a short tail, just let me know when you comment. So Husky has a minus in stamina, a minus in speed, but he is extremely healthy. He can take a lot of hits. He is a tank per se. But he'll never be able to hunt mule deer, I imagine, because of the lack of speed and stamina. Perhaps if we play Husky at any point, we could add some strength to him and he could bite hard and hold on to elk a little bit longer for his mate when they are trying to survive in the wilds of Yellowstone. I mean, he looks like he belongs here. I mean, he just camouflages into the background so beautifully in the fall of Amethyst Mountain, which I'm assuming is what this background is. He is so gorgeous, y'all. So gorgeous. So other than being a singer, I never really saw Husky go too far from the rendezvous site or even the den, and he always seemed to be accompanying another pup. So he cared about his family and his siblings. I think that he is definitely more social than some of the other siblings, as well as being a singer. So him wanting to be a part of a pack would be very important, whether it was starting his own pack or staying with Mikhail and his uncle Teo. I wonder if he would even take on the task of his dad and uncle of trying to bring wolves together. I imagine since he is so close to his family, maybe that's something that's important to him, bringing more family together, being the overly friendly wolf. I could even see him wanting to go after a mate that was a part of another pack on purpose to try and unite a pack together. But let me know what you think about that in the comments below. If you have different ideas, I would love to hear about it. Oh, and of course, we can't forget the Snagglefang, which is so cute on him. What is this? What? Oh my gosh, I don't think I've seen this one either. This is crazy. I think I actually just used this coat to create WolfQuest Alderheart. And this Hawthorne over here is a Hawthorne I created. Just ignore her for now. But this is our Hawthorne. This is the son of Mikhail. He ended up being so beautiful. Now I understand why he had that beige coat. He truly kept it into adulthood. And he is very beige colored. So this is from the Gorgeous Grays. This is the 1091F mouse coats. That's why I haven't seen this one before, is because it is from the DLC of the coat pack. And it is stunning. I love the touches of orange and red that are in here. It is so beautiful. And his face is so sweet looking. I love that we're getting new coats, honestly, and I can't get enough of them, not to be ungrateful, but I would love for more and more wolf coats to be added. Obviously, I know there's only so many coats out there genetically, but I would love to see some more. But this one I just love so much. So interesting for eye color, it almost looks like he got a pine green or a gray green. It's really pretty on the back of his coat. He has such dark eyes, but they still look so sweet with the way that his eyebrows are. He doesn't look menacing at all, unlike Stygander, which looks demonic. So even though his eyes are dark, they're still very, very sweet. Another soft howl. It looks like all of these pups got a really soft howl. We got the squeakiest of squeakiest howls. Squeaky like a mouse. Oh my goodness. I feel like Hawthorne, just based on the way he looks, could be very sweet. I don't see anything going on with the ears right now. And as for the tail, it does look like there's a bit of an outward angle. I'm going to see if that is actually a thing. It is. So it looks like Hawthorne did get a little bit of an outward angle with his tail. I kind of want to say that that is a part of the husky blood that runs through him just a little bit, because huskies typically have a curled tail when they're excited. I will tell you, it is very common for huskies to not do that. Kiba, for example, keeps her tail down probably 90% of the time and only brings it up when she is overly excited. But most of the time her tail is actually down, unlike Calder, whose tail is pretty much always up. But yes, I think this would be kind of a fun way of seeing where some of that husky takes place in these pups, since Kiba, their grandmother, was a pure-blooded husky. And as for stats, whoa, hoo-hoo, there's definitely gonna be no mule deer hunting for Hawthorne. So he is a little bit stronger. He has a bit more bite to him, a stronger jaw. However, I think I would like to say that genetically he got the same disease that his father has, where he simply does not have a lot of endurance. He's just a bit weaker. He cannot last as long during the day. However, he did get that bite, and hopefully it helps him. He did lose out on some speed, which I think has a lot to do with that stamina, but he's super, super healthy. So he's very much along the lines of what his father's stats are. Now, some of this we can fix if we end up playing Hawthorne. I can adjust things as we age him up on birthdays, but whew! I will tell you, playing with that low stamina is rough. It makes you have to sleep a lot. I will say it does make series end a little faster because Mikhail had to sleep so much. He actually finished before Teo did, even though I think Teo started this new series. I could be wrong about that, though. I could be wrong. There's been so many WolfQuest series that they kind of run together now. So as for Hawthorne, I could kind of see him just kind of doing his own thing. I see him being very sweet and loving. For some reason, I even love the idea that maybe he was really close to Sundance before the end and has taken on her loving and playful attitude, and that he values love so very much. I could see love being very important to him. But I could see him walking away from the family a little bit, being a little bit of an explorer even, maybe trying out new maps, possibly going to Lost River. Perhaps he heard stories that Teo told about his adventures in Lost River and the famous Seraph even. So I could see out of all of them that he would be the one that would go on an adventure and live his own life. Not that he doesn't love his family, but that he wants to give that love that he feels to somebody else. And he would be fun to play. It would be like playing Mikhail, though. I will say with the stats, it would be almost exactly like Mikhail game-wise. But we could change that out with different goals and quirks and flaws as we go through the ages with him. But let me know what y'all think down in the comments below about Hawthorne. Maybe you have a completely idea for him and I'd be really excited to hear about it. Don't forget to add any customizations that you might want to see on some of these wolves. And here is little Lovebird, who also got radio collared. Very cool. So Lovebird has a very black but gray pelt, no browns or reds of any kind. Now, if you remember correctly, Lovebird was our smallest. I don't think she was the runt though. She just was smaller in general. She has an NPC coat. I literally cannot find the coats in this list. So she does have an NPC coat. And you know what? That doesn't surprise me at all, because usually when we see the black coats in this list, they come with some sort of brown or even a red or even a purple. But right now we've only just got the black and the gray. I don't see this coat very often, but she is pretty. Her eyes ended up being very similar to her father's, maybe just a little bit lighter. She has a true amber. She lost a little bit of the red that she had from her dad, and maybe she got that from Kirby. In fact, I could see Lovebird being a lot like Kirby in the way that she loves a mate. But I do think that she'd still love her pups more like Mikhail does. I just get the impression that this litter is going to be a very loving litter because of all of the family that surrounded them, and having Sundance and Aurora there and seeing how lovely they were as females taking care of the family, being strong for the family, protecting the family. That's going to be something that is really important to her. Another soft-spoken puppo! Oh my gosh, so many of these howls actually do sound like they belong to the same wolf. It's so good to see that those are being paired together. I don't know if that was actually an adjustment. I don't always read the changelogs for the game when there's a new update out, but I've noticed even in Teos that a lot of the howls sound like they belong to the same wolf, which is great. I don't know if I'm lucky or if that really was a part of some of the updates, but she is very soft-spoken and so beautiful. I love that golden gaze against her black mask that she has. I don't actually see any ear customizations with her either. Let's give her the snaggle fang. Does she have anything with her tail? It doesn't look like it. She does look like she has a bit of a salt and pepper coat. I'm just really loving her coat. The more I look at it, the more I'm intrigued, and I just want to draw art of her like right now. You know what I really see with her? I see Aspen. Don't y'all? I look at her and I see the same adventurous spirit with Aspen. The love that he had for Charm and his family just kind of shines in her, but she still has that desire to go out and achieve. I just see that with her. I don't know why. It just was a feeling that just kind of came at me. And sometimes that happens as a storyteller. You'll just get a feeling and you're like, I have to go with it. And you should go with it. Sometimes the best storytelling comes from just a feeling that you get. And I just get that feeling like Aspen is just really with her in her spirit, you know? So as for her stats, it looks like she also got a little bit of Mikhail's stamina. Not too bad. I don't think that she has his disease or anything, but she does not have that endurance that an average wolf would have. However, she's a little bit more speedy, so that should balance out really well. If she can catch up to an elk a little bit easier with her speed, then the stamina is not going to matter as much, except for being able to hold on. So we're just going to have to watch that as we're hunting and make sure we adjust our playing skill to this. It should be easier though. I love it when the stats are mostly average. It makes it easier to adjust. When they're pretty chaotic, whew, that stuff is hard. But let me know what you think about Lovebird. If you agree with me about maybe her having a little bit of Aspen with her, that adventurous, loving spirit that she has, wanting to explore. I could even see her in Lost River map, or if the saga comes out at any point soon, I would love to see her go back to Amethyst Mountain and just adventure a different place than what she grew up in. I could absolutely see her and Hawthorne doing that. And now we have Nova, who literally looks like Teo, has the exact same coat and everything. Nova, what happened? So Nova actually got the Life is Rough Pack 2. It is the 4th coat over, or second from last, with the mange, which is what the game calls it. They call it mange. I like to think of it as burns, that they got into a forest fire and they just barely escaped with their lives, but that's just me because I like drama. But what do you think? Do you think that this could be that she got brutalized by a bear and some skin got ripped off and it just never grew back quite right? Did she get into a fire? Or is this actually mange? What happened to Nova? My gosh, she looks exactly like Teo. It is honestly humorous. I think Teo's a little darker though, to be fair. And then she ended up getting a golden gaze, which probably comes from her mother. I do think Kirby has gold eyes. I will have to double check, like I said earlier in this episode, but this looks to be a Kirby gene right here. In fact, she even looks kind of like Kirby in the way that she expresses herself. This is the first wolf out of this litter that has had a deeper vocal tone. And then a little bit of a middle. This is the first time in this litter that we've actually had 2 howls that seemed pretty significantly different, which is kind of cool. She has a larger range in her vocal tone, which is pretty neat. I still like to see that in my wolves. She's definitely lighter than Teo. I don't think Teo has this bright white at all on the back of his legs. But yes, what happened, Nova? What happened to you, love? How did you get that? That injury? What on earth happened? So I don't see any ear customizations with her at all. I will go ahead and give her the snaggle fang. I don't see anything with the tail either. But honestly, if we ended up playing her, I would want to give her some more customizations. I want it to have something to do with this right here. I think that would be incredibly awesome to maybe have another wolf that kind of suffered on her first year, maybe trying to survive. Maybe she even left Kirby and Mikhail a little bit too soon and got herself in trouble. Maybe she went to Lost River and fell into one of the hot pools, or she got sprayed by one of the geysers because she got too close and didn't know what was going to happen. That would be interesting, a way to lead Nova into Lost River, and then she got herself into quite a bit of trouble. I could absolutely see that being a thing because of the geysers, and that just popped into my head. I'm like, how games-wise could she have burned herself? And I'm like, oh yeah, the super hot pools. That would be the perfect way for a wolf to accidentally get burned besides a forest fire. As sad as that sounds, I know it's very morbid to talk about that, but yeah, isn't that crazy? Now we could actually call this burns for a reason game-wise rather than a forest fire that never actually happens. I love that. I absolutely love it. All right, what are your stats, Nova? So Nova is not very strong, and I wonder if that might have anything to do with the fact that she got so injured. Perhaps she suffered a jaw injury as well, or she just lost a lot of her strength in general after being injured. But she's still really healthy despite the injury itself. So she's pretty average as far as a wolf goes. She's below average in strength, but above average in health. Otherwise, she wouldn't be too hard to adjust for if we ended up playing Nova for any reason. But I'd really love to hear what y'all have to say about what happened to Nova. How did she get injured? Or is this actually mange? What happened to her? Should we add any more customizations? Let me know in the comments below. And last but certainly not least is Doe, who has one of my favorite coats. I believe Redwood actually got this coat as well. This coat is stunning. I love this coat so very much. So this is one of the NPC coats, and it's very, very dark, but it has just this beautiful brown, red, and even tan just littered throughout the coat line. It's absolutely stunning. She has a black tip tail, but with a more tan shoulder line right on the back of her neck. I just think that the coloration and the contrast of the colors somehow blend so well together. This coat has my heart so much. Just has it. Absolutely love this. All right, Doe, you almost starved to death in the end, love. Oh my goodness. So she has a very, very pale green gold gaze. There's a touch of green in there. I would say it's more gold than green, but you can see where the green lies, especially in the shadows of the eyes right there, which is so pretty on this coat. I love pairing greens and browns. I think it's so pretty. That's my cottagecore showing, where I think there needs to be plants and oak wood everywhere, but that's just me. Anyways, it's beautiful. What do you sound like, my love? So she got her father's howl indeed. And then she got the pained howl. That howl will forever be known as the pained howl because it sounds like they're hurting when they do it. But yes, she got her father's howl and the pained howl. Honestly, they fall within the same vocal range, so that really works for her. I want to play her like right now. I'm sorry, I shouldn't pick favorites. I'm not picking favorites. She's just so pretty. But there's more than just looks when it comes to these wolves, y'all. And even though I am just in love with her appearance, she needs to have a good story too. The story is more important than how pretty a wolf is. And every time we have one of these episodes where I do a pup reveal, I want to remind y'all of that. It's more than just the coat. Now, if you love Doe for her coat, then give me a good story or help me create a really good story that is riveting for following Doe for more than just how pretty she is. There needs to be a tale to be told. Otherwise, we're just playing WolfQuest, and we've done a lot of that, and so it would be boring without something to tell alongside these wolves as they traverse the lands of Yellowstone, surviving in the harshest of climates, and yet winning or sometimes losing, depending on where our story leads us. But she's got to have a good story. I don't see any customizations in her ears currently. We will give her a snaggle fang. And then for her tail, I don't really see anything with her tail either. That looks pretty normal as far as I'm concerned. So she didn't really get any customizations, but that doesn't mean that we can't add customizations later on. Oh, she's perfect. She's perfect. Sorry. I love an average wolf. An average wolf means that she can only really have pluses in the end. There's nothing to have to fight against. She's just 0 across the board, which is great. She ended up being extremely balanced. I love that. It doesn't really help tell a story though. I will say that. Usually when there are minuses in a stat, it helps me tell a story of maybe, oh, they received an injury and they never quite healed from it. Or in other occasions I've said they trained harder on this than they have on the other, and that's why they have more strength than they do endurance. So, you know, it doesn't really tell a story. So for Doe, the only thing that I have for her is the fact that she almost starved in the end. So for her story, I could very much see it having been centered around food. Like, I could see her doing what Mikhail did in the first series that nearly killed me, which is that she can't sleep unless she's above 90% hunger. Because I had to do that with Mikhail. It was horrible. I hated it. However, it was still, to this day, probably one of the most difficult challenges I have ever had to do with a wolf. It made it harder to play the game, and I was playing on accurate on top of that. So it was interesting. It definitely made for some interesting episodes where there was a lot of struggle going on. But maybe instead of her, it's one of those things where she won't go to sleep unless the pups are full. and she will run herself into the ground, making sure her pups are properly fed because she almost died of starvation. She knows what real starvation feels like, and that could play very much into her story. Also, she would not eat. I brought that carcass back to the den, or the rendezvous site, for her, and she ate last, even though she was the hungriest out of all of them. So maybe she got pushed over by the other pups. So perhaps she might have something similar to Aurora, where she will eat last. She'll make sure her pups and her mate eat first, and she will wait and eat last. Or even if she's out hunting, she'll let her mate eat first. She'll help take it down. She'll let her mate eat till he's full, and then she'll wait. Or maybe it would be the opposite, where she would growl and be extremely aggressive. Maybe she would have food aggression because she was so starved as a pup. I definitely see that being a thing with her, and that's kind of cool, having that experience playing Mikhail and nearly making a fatal mistake, but making that a part of her story. I love it when that happens. I think that does make for intriguing and interesting stories. It makes for more challenge. So let me know what y'all think about that in the comments, and if you have anything to add to it, I would love to hear about it. Definitely tell me. This is so exciting, building more stories together, because we will, once Mikhail is done, we will be choosing an official heir. Dawn and Aurora were supposed to kind of take that place, but Dawn perished to Crevice Lake, and Aurora wants nothing to do with being a ruler of the Snagglefang pack, period. So we're gonna need an heir at some point. But Mikhail and Kirby still have a little bit of time to go. Their story's not over, and just like Teo, they play a very, very important part in what is to come. I've given hints here and there at what might happen. I know some of you have a really good idea of what's going to happen, and I know a lot of you don't. But their story is not over. We will continue with them as more wolves come in. It might cause problems for the Snagglefang pack and the Ovarian pack, but that is until later. But let me know what y'all think about Doe and all the other pups for that matter. All right, y'all. So that is it for Brothers Bond, and we'll be on to the next one. But Teo is also done. He won't be having any more litters. If I play him, it will be an organized multiplayer game, which I haven't really started organizing yet, so don't get your hopes up too much. That will come in later. We will continue Mikhail on his own, and it will be like Teo is still with him, but otherwise we will not be playing Teo. So we need somebody to replace Wednesday's episodes. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. I'll probably pull up a poll very, very soon, so look out for that community post, or if you're in Discord, look out for the post in Discord in the announcements channel. I hope y'all liked this Brothers Bond series. I hope you liked these pups. If you did, tickle and poke that like button, subscribe to join our family if you haven't already, and jingle the bell so you're notified of when I post WolfQuest videos or go live. Also, join Discord or follow me on Twitch. I love hanging out with you guys on other platforms. The links to both of those are in the description below. I love you guys. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next week for more Mikhail. I hope y'all don't mind that we're playing him all the way through. I'm actually looking to get achievements all the way to age 8, so just be patient with me. Once he's done, and then we will be forced to move on, which will be crazy. I can't imagine having Mikhail for this long and then having to lose him. Ooh, you think I cried for Sundance and Seraph. I'm probably gonna cry pretty hard when we lose Mikhail, but that's still a ways from now. All right, y'all, I mean it this time. I love you, and I'll see you next week for more WolfQuest with Mikhail. Bye!